our work in 4 areas. Communication. We mentioned that as all the stories and experience that we have to tell the people. This is the second area. The third area is working with teachers and working with schools. And the fourth area is to impact all of this in public authorities. Okay. As I told you, we have a big network of teachers in Argentina. Argentina have 24 provinces, jurisdictions, and all of these jurisdictions has the teachers in this big network. We call Red Fed, it's a red federal of all the country. And one of the questions I have, one of the very important questions I have is your message for the teachers of this organization. Okay. In talking generally about Argentina, we have 1 million of teachers all around Argentina, 12 million of students in the mandatory student primary, kindergarten and secondary school, and we have around 60,000 of schools.
That's a very big number.
A minute ago, the investment in your people, your students, in your teachers is one of the important things of Singapore. And you mentioned an enterprise.
When we say enterprise, it means an act of paying it forward.
Okay.
That means in education, we hope that the teachers will always remember, and we drum this message. I carry this message myself as one of the teachers here in Singapore, by training the teachers.
Okay.
Our predecessors, that means our previous generation, they went through the hard times. Today we enjoy things much better. So it's our role. Our role is also to do the same. Every generation, we will have our own challenges. Even right now, it's just that we have more resources, but it doesn't mean that the challenges are less. They are just different. For example, artificial intelligence. What do you do with it? All these are challenges of the times. See? So each of educators will have to have that spirit of rising to the occasion. We will solve the problems of our times and make sure that we have a good education for our children so that they have the best chance. And that is how we pay it forward. Somebody paid for us, we paid forward.
Let me ask you, because I understand that the basement of all this spirit is that you pay very good salaries to the teachers.
Yes, we do.
And how do you manage this in the beginning when you were a country that has so many challenges and poverty? You make this as an investment decision of the country.
Well, I would say that you could read up the history, some of the details. If you ask me, I don't have it on hand to talk to you about. But salary is not something that. So there are two parts to it. One, we increase across the years. It's not one big jump. Okay. And when the country can afford it, then you pay a bit. But it's not all the time that we could afford, and so we increase rather than a big jump.
Okay, step by step.
That's one. But more importantly, and it split into two parts as well. One is, it is not about the actual dollar. It is about, more importantly, it's kind of like purchasing power, the quality of life. It is much easier to compare across countries because even if you were to earn $1 but you live in the United States, it's very different from living in another part of the world and with $1. It's a very different thing. So it's not the actual salary. It's that who are teachers, generally speaking, in the society, financially, and this part is just financially.
This is very interesting.
So I'll talk about the financial part first, but more importantly, there's another thing, which is the respect, and therefore the encouragement. So in terms of the remuneration, salary, So I would say teachers are somewhere in the middle.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a teacher, definitely, at least in this country, okay, with our various other housing schemes and so on, you could raise a family without a problem.
Okay.
You probably can afford a house without a problem.
Okay.
You could drive a car without a problem. Kind of quite middle income.
Middle.
You will never get rich.
Yeah.
You're not a businessman.
Okay.
You'll never be in poverty.
Yeah.
You are not worried about where my next meal is coming from. You don't need to worry that I have 2 children. Oh no, I'm going to make a good do, okay, to educate my children or just to
Have some holidays or whatever.
yeah. So our teachers enjoy a kind of lifestyle in which they are quite comfortable. They are not hoping to get rich, because if you hope to get rich, please don't come into teaching.
Okay. I understand.
And when we pay our teachers well, it is of course, if you see it from a business point of view, it's called competitive salary, but it's not compete. When we pay people well, it is a sign also that we treasure you.
Perfect. Okay. This is really a message.
It's a message. But we are not saying that, because if that's the case, if it is just a matter of money, then we'll just keep increasing the salary. Why not?
Yeah,
We got the money now, we just
That will be very easy.
No, we don't want that either. Our teachers ought to be people who are truly interested in teaching, in interacting with young people.
Yeah.
Not because the salary is so good.
Yeah.
So the salary is what we call good enough.
Okay.
Definitely good enough.
Okay. And on the other hand, I think that the society of Singapore, when they see the teachers, they see as a well-known profession,
Yes.
as a prestigious
Yes.
of the society.
And that to us is actually more important. We spend a lot of effort. In fact, I think even more effort to make sure, because it's challenging.
Yeah.
As the
Yeah,
society matures and parents become more educated and so on and so forth, that our teachers and the teaching profession remain what we call a respected one.
Okay.
That teachers are actually nation builders. So this is something that we say all the time. Nation builders. Teachers are people who commit their lives to this profession that does a few things to protect the social fabric of the society. It brings hope to children. They work with families such that regardless of whether it's affluent or in disadvantaged position, you try your best to give the best chance to the child.
Yeah.
We need teachers like that, and we hope that our society will recognize that therefore teachers, they are one critical pillar in building this country.
Well, this is really, I think, the essential for us, this message. And I have a particular question of the business class, because it is really important for us in Argentina or in South America that the business class understands that the importance of the teachers building the society, building the nation. Do you have a close relation with businessmen, with private businessmen here in Singapore?
And
How do you do that?
Well, in Singapore, the government has been, together with the teaching profession, having conversations with all parts of the society. It's not just the business, but parts of the society. When we do education, it is not on its own. Just main example, if we educate the children, and when they finish education, the industries say that they are not ready for whatever new things that we want them to do. That's not going to be helpful for education, for the kids, for the teachers, for everybody. Therefore, all the time, the government has been involving business people so that we understand one another better. And indeed, such conversations are common, and it's also helpful because businesses can use the opportunity not only just to communicate what they're hoping for, but also provide chances of, for example, internships for students. Okay? Chances for students and indeed for our teachers to be able to attach themselves. Okay? And it's so I'm talking about not just students but also teachers to attach themselves. So to learn. So we actually have schemes for teachers to kind of just take a little while, okay, to go out there to the industry, attach themselves to learn something, so that teachers are improving themselves, not only just within the confines of the academic subject area, understand the industry, understand how industries work, understand what knowledge and skills are actually not necessary out there, so that they can help the children better.
The key issue for the future of the education of our systems. So I would like you, if you have any message that you can bring us, to put the education as number one, one of the national challenges, or how do we can manage in the future this understanding that you have that the teachers are the key.
Okay. I won't be able to say what will work in another part of the world.
Okay.
But I'll say that at least in my own country, firstly, it has never been, in the first place, a very rich country to start with. It wasn't.
Okay.
Two, education is important, but it is never developed in isolation from other parts of industry and governance. Okay. So what I mean to say is this. Education, in a way, is also a reflection of society. Okay? If the society, every one of us, really hopes for better education, then you will see that there's a sizable force that goes towards it. So it starts off with the people, it starts off with the government, but it doesn't mean that let's put education as the number one thing in the country and it works, because it is never in isolation. It has to be considered, it is highly important, but it is considered with respect to the rest of the development of the country. But when we see education as a key piece of building this nation, that it is about the next generation. Okay? And it is foundational in how we, even as adults, as lifelong learners, learn and relearn, so that the economy, just merely the economy, I'm not even talking about societal activity, just the economy. Every country in the world right now is also grappling with the challenges of increasing technology and many other parts of the world. Business can just shift to another parts of the world.
Sure.
So in order to remain competitive, it is not just about the children, although yes, we need to educate children so that they can measure up in the future. But the current adults, lifelong learning is also very important. As we continue to train and retrain ourselves, certain jobs have just disappeared. So I may be competent in a certain job,
Yes.
and then suddenly the whole industry just disappears because of automation, technology, and increasingly with artificial intelligence stepping in. You see that initially, or at least some years ago, these are considered as kind of knowledge jobs, and so not so easily replaced.
Okay.
Suddenly, these jobs are increasingly becoming vulnerable to being replaced.
Within replace, yeah.
Global businesses tend to therefore shift businesses away from just simply a traditional production model, and they can locate and relocate businesses in other parts of the world, where they can find a skilled labor at a reasonable cost. So education is not just about schooling for children. Education is fundamentally how we learn, both adults and children. But having the right attitude to learn and be a lifelong learner, and then how the country can support this movement to continue learning. And if everybody sees that, yes, this is important, because we need to start what we call a virtuous cycle. If the more we don't take education seriously, then the more we'll be stuck at a basic skill level. The rest of the world improves, and then business and will go to other parts of the world. And it will just keep going downwards because then we'll be more and more resource constrained.
Yeah.
But if you see this as important, yes, at this moment, times are tough, but kind of like everybody thinks that it's important. Let's just grit our teeth a little bit, but let's pour efforts. Then we begin a virtuous cycle and be patient. It takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but we see result. And one generation can feel happy that in my generation, I now see that my next generation, they are in a much better position
Yeah.
than I was.
Last question. Talking about the future, you mentioned artificial intelligence and technology. What are you doing? How can you manage these skills for the teachers, because they are improving a lot in months.
Continuous professional development, because you never arrive.
You never.
You just continuously learn. Keep learning, keep adapting. It is only when we are not even aware that things have been moving and we're just isolating ourselves in our classroom. And then we say we don't want to change anything. Then sooner or later, we'll be in a position of desperation because the world has moved so far ahead. So there's no easy answer, but there is a process. And the process starts with an attitude, continuously learn. And so in artificial intelligence, this is just something I wrote in an article. It's just that so strangely, I'm no expert in artificial intelligence. It's just that I wrote this one thing.
But you wrote one.
And it seems to have caught some attention.
Okay.
I was just having a play on words, and I asked this question. So a little bit of background, and I asked this particular question. I said that a lot of us have been, with artificial intelligence, we wonder, okay, so what are the tools? How do we use AI? And what should we do to make sure that students don't use AI to cheat? These are all the relevant questions. Okay, I say, so fair enough. Let's just do all these things. Okay? But the more fundamental question to me is this, okay? And that really affects education. So a play on words. If artificial intelligence is artificial intelligence, then what exactly is real intelligence?
Okay.
And this is something that we need to think about.
Okay.
Then education should center around this.
Yeah. That throws me to another question. Do you think the artificial intelligence will replace the teachers, or will be a good tool for the teachers to be better?
Strangely, I think that with artificial intelligence, the human teacher will be more important than ever before.
Oh my God, that's a good point.
In Singapore, at least, it will be more important than ever before. Reason, okay, at least in the short run. So it can make things a bit more effective and efficient, definitely. Okay, for example, now with more automated marking and everything. Okay? But that's just a simple usage of this. That's not the point. The point really is this. With artificial intelligence, just an example, I can generate a lot of things. But I can also, for example, generate fake news in many, many different versions with just now one click. Many years ago, in order to write some fake news, at least I have to spend time to try to draft something. Now one click, within 5 seconds, I generate something. I'm not happy enough, I click. I get another something. I can have all sorts of fake things inundating everywhere. Which means that the big question is this: who will guide the young people how to be discerning? Therefore, the sort of real intelligence have gone way beyond just a matter of just clever. It is intelligence moving up to discernment and wisdom. With a lot of things, both real and fake. How do you distinguish what is real and what is fake? With a lot of information and misinformation, an overload of information that it might just be misinformation. How do you sieve out? When a human being solves a problem, we cannot be inundated with so much information. That means flood of information until we can't process. So how do you sieve out what is relevant information, what is irrelevant information, what is critical information, and what is not so critical information? What is real information? What is fake information? All these are skills that education should more and more
important.
And teachers will therefore have to up the level of professional skills as well.
Because the artificial intelligence.
Because of artificial intelligence. But not only that. You will find that, but that is just me, okay? And usually in conferences I say such things, but I say that the strange thing is that today the hype is about artificial intelligence, and you can I can just learn this from the internet. Okay? I don't need a qualification from somebody. I don't need to attend a class or have a teacher.
Yeah.
I can learn this from the internet, which is great. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's not great. I'm saying it's true. I can learn how to do it. There will come a day, but not immediately, a long time ago, where strangely, two young persons in conversation with one another, hey, where do you learn this from? Oh, I learned this from whatever, artificial intelligence and internet and so on. And the other person saying, mine is better. I learned it from a human master. Okay. And therefore I'm superior. There will come a day where in fact, today students may not want to go to classes. There might just come to a strange day where to be able to have a human master to learn from, that will be seen as, wow, you are privileged. Because computers is everywhere. Everybody learns from computers. You are the only one who have this thing with a human to be with you. And you get guidance that no computers can guide you. And that might come to a day where the child says, I have a human teacher, but I'm better.
Okay, Professor Nappi, really a lot. I don't have words to say thank you.
No.
I don't know if you have a last message for South American teachers or for South American regulatory authorities or whatever.
I would usually say something like that. Educators are people who plant trees so that others sit under those trees, and perhaps no one knows who planted those in the first place. And so educators basically times can be tough, things can be tough, but for all the things that we do, we may not see result, and there might be a certain level of frustration, but someone else always benefit. Someone else always benefit. And if our attitude in life is that I'm not working just for myself, then I know that it's not futile. Someone else will always benefit.
Construction builders,
then we build a nation together.
Okay, Professor, thank you.